Alrighty, let's get this show on the road. Hello, everybody. It is D or Phase here. What is up? Wow, what the heck? I just started the stream and all the energy just disappeared. Anyway, hi, hello, yes, I'm a game dev and a streamer, and what we're going to be doing today is working on an update for one of my games, because it's been a little bit since I've done anything for this game, and then, you know, a little while ago I got an inspiration to add a whole bunch more things that won't be too hard to add and try and put it out on mobile as well. So I figured if I'm going to put it out on mobile, might as well add a whole bunch of things to the PC version, and then once that's all done and tested and working good, move it over to mobile and see what happens. Anyway, right, I think that's my intro. We are going to switch over now to... There we go. Alrighty. I don't know how legible that will be on stream. It's supposed to be somewhat legible, but doesn't always... And present with screen share, connect to app. Okay, yeah, see, I don't know why, like, in the actual app, it's so much worse compared to, like, screen share, where it's more or less legible. I guess it's just, maybe if I, like, zoom it out more, it'll be better. Anyway, right, what are we doing today? Today, it's going to be a chill 2-ish hour stream. We are going to be... So these are the things that we are going to try and do. I don't think we're going to get these done in 2 hours, but I purposefully picked out more things than I think is viable to do in about 2 hours, especially when I'm streaming, just so that if we get all, if we get all of them done, we're not then scrambling for what is that we're going to do next. So first things first. Well, as I was writing these out, I'm like, you know what? I probably want to do these in like reverse order. So what's going to happen is the dark... That show up? Yes. Okay. So dark mode and gray mode, that's probably going to be last. The add new enemy variant, that's going to be second. And then tweak player movement, it's going to be first. And then these are just our sort of general sort of things. And then as we take a task, we can expand it out and figure out what we want to do for it. So tweak player movement. One thing that I've noticed with people, and you know, I've had this complaint for a while, but I was allowing for it mainly because the difficulty of player movement was kind of intended. And I say that because, like, it goes with the story for why you're, like, you know, why the player, they're in this unusual place with an unusual body, and like, why is it hard for them to move? However, it's a constant point of player frustration, so I've decided to do something about it. And probably what we're going to do when it comes to tweaking player movement is we are going to reduce the player weight. And on top of that, probably up the player base speed a little bit. And I think that'll be a good point to start off. Get ourselves into the programming mindset. And yeah, let's just rock right into it. So, our changes. So, this is our player controller. This is everything. As you can see, the player controller has a lot of things related to them. One thing that we want to start with is here. We have their rigid body. Their mass is just 1. So one thing that we can very much try is just making this be like 0.5. So cutting their mass in half. We've just now doubled the player's speed. We're going to have to do this in the other scene as well, but for now I'm just going to keep in this one. And then somewhere in here we got movement speed. I think 300 is the base, so we can try bumping that up to like 400 and see how that works. Right, the player is massive. 1 second, I just need to do something. Need to futz with something in the background. Here we go. Where is... Here we go. Store images. That should let me get there quickly. I just need to access the Castaway Soul main and then change the player stats that the player isn't freaking massive. Yeah, let's reduce it to like 9. There we go. Yeah, I've been testing stuff in the background as well, and on the background, doing and working off stream. So that has led to some accumulation of values in the background, but you know, those can just be tweaked away. There we go. Back up to a regular size. Okay, and now here we have the new plate. That's so... Hang on, I need to... How loud is that on stream? I feel like that's too loud on stream. 1 second. Let's just pull that down to like... Yeah, okay, that seems better. Otherwise, it was probably just overwhelming everything. Anyway, okay, there we go. All right, so the test that we're kind of going to be seeing now is... Here we go. We have 2 map tiles. We're going to go full speed and then see how quickly we can kind of turn around once we're going full speed, right? And one slight problem is, as you can see, the center thing that displays like your jumps and your dashes, so that displays your jumps, and then that displays your dashes. It's built to work with like certain values because this is kind of hacked together. So the faster the player goes, the more of an issue we're going to have. But I think this should be quite a bit better now, reducing the player speed. So with reducing the player speed, and the other reason that I want to do that is you will see here in a moment, we now have a whole bunch of obstacles that spawn everywhere on all the thingies. It is still very loud. But yes, the reason that I wanted to reduce the player's speed quite a bit more than, the player's weight quite a bit more, is to allow them to get up these obstacles quite a bit faster. Though this might be a little bit too much, so we might bump their weight back up to like 0.6 or 0.7. It's just something to kind of experiment around. But this already, I can tell you, I've known that it's been an issue for like a little while. Also, that doesn't... 1 second. I have a little marker here on the bottom right that says work in progress build 9. I need to move that over to the left. My camera's on the right. Anyway, yeah, I've known about the issue that it can be an issue that players don't feel like they have enough control of the character. It's kind of supposed to be a part of the story, but at the same time, I think it's like... yeah, it's one of those things where it's difficult, man. Like, when do you sacrifice the story and how the gameplay is supposed to feel for like making it feel good and interesting and approachable to people? Because it's difficult to put my thoughts together, just kind of talking off the cuff. But I will say this actually feels quite a bit better, and I think one of the things that I might do is reduce the player's weight by maybe like 0.9. Because we also have an issue here where, right, our jump is now super massive, and you can't tell where the heck you're going either. That enemy... No, okay, I was fine. Oh my god. Yeah, see, I do really like the new obstacle system because of how, like, see, like, now this has completely changed the map from one to the other, but you still have this kind of sort of ramp going here. And a thing you can literally do is go into here. And now you have this little blocked off area that's been created that most of the enemies can't really quite get to. And so you have something of a safe area. And I am 100% gonna have to create some system to show where above the ground the player is, because like it's so difficult to figure out where I am when I'm up in the air like that. I already need to create a system like that for the capsule enemies. So might as well have it happen for the player enemies as well, for the player as well. I'm now just I will say one thing that that the obstacle system has done, it's definitely got me enjoying my own game again. A lot of the time, if I've played a game a bunch, which, you know, making a game, I've played it a bunch, and on top of that, I know everything that's in there and all the secrets and all that kind of stuff. So like there's nothing to come on. Yep. Okay. Okay, come on. Yes. So there's no like secrets, there's nothing for me to explore because I'm the one that puts it all in there. But having these actual things like this getting added to the game and having it be random again, so I don't quite know what's happening. Oh, it's been nice. It's been very nice. Okay. I should probably get back to actually working on the game, but like I said, I'm kind of enjoying myself right now. Okay, so that works for the player for now. What I would say is the player is definitely too light. I think changing up the base movement speed to be 400 is perfectly fine for now, considering all the other upgrades. Here we go. Here's all the skill cards. So the stuff that can happen with 4 is... Heck just opened up. I don't know what just opened up. Whatever. Okay. On so to start, add 1 to maximum. We have movement. So that's 20% movement force. So yeah, that's multiplying our movement force by 1.2. Yeah, see, so this is one of the issues once you start getting further into the game, right? We have a whole bunch of things. We have a certain game balance that's been established, and now we have to figure out how we can tweak it and make it better for the players without just completely eliminating any and all challenge. And then I'll have to see. I can actually go into the inner scene. So, and yeah, we're just going to leave this for now. Where are our... Surprised that my... I can't change that now. Well, oh well, too late. Yeah, I'm surprised my scene doesn't have an underscore on it to find it easier. Excuse me. Okay. So I'm pretty sure that the player here... And yeah, so that was running it at a speed of 400 plus 20% movement force. So that actually like feels pretty good for the player with that amount. And then the other one is going to be this. So what I'm thinking I will do is I will move integral 1 and 2 into its own sort of utility pedestal, right? And so if we move integral 1 and 2 out of here, what we can put in its place is reducing player weight by a certain amount. So let's say we start off the player at 0.9. We can then add an upgrade that reduces it by 0.15, whatever percentage that would be. You don't have to explain exactly to players what's going on. What I would probably do in the integral is I would say something like, oh, reduce player weight by 20%. And so would then the players know that means, oh, you get to move around a lot easier, but also you get pushed around a lot easier. That's part of the reason that I'm fully willing to make this change, is that, for one thing, reducing the player's weight their physics weight will make it so the ball will be easier to control, the player will be easier to control, and at the same time it gives more choice to the player. Like, if they don't want to have that weight reduction, they don't have to take those abilities, they don't have to incorporate that into their build. And on top of that, if the player's heavier, they're harder to move around, not just for the player but also for enemies, right? You can definitely get into situations where the enemies, everything's fully physics enabled, so enemies like pushing into you not only damage you, but they can also lock you down and stuff like that. So if the player is lighter, it'll be easier for the player to get pushed around. So, it's a trade-off that players have to balance, which is why I'm fine changing around those kinds of player values. And then, I mean, for the most part, what will be, how would I calculate that? So 0.9 divided by what? Like, where do we want the player to be? At 0.75? That's about I guess that's a 20% reduction. Yep. So let's see, 0.9 times 1. Nope. All right, well, this is looking real bad for me mathing, but anyway. Ignore that. Let's see. So that will be something that I would say I don't know that I'd want to do right now, because I would want to see how it applies to the story, what stuff to write, and anything that's sort of related to the story and stuff like that, I am trying to keep off of stream. Just because. Don't want it. All of the story is there for people to suss out, and I don't want to be giving anything away by having people watch these like down the line and actually figuring out what's going on, because there's a whole bunch of stuff planned with these games, and not going to be giving it away here. Okay, so how would we change that around? Let's say we wanted to change this integral. I think for now I am just going to remove integral, and we are going to put that somewhere else. And then for player, okay, why is the movement speed? Okay, I guess in here the movement speed is a little bit higher than normal. And then the mass is 0.9. There we go. So what do we want to do here? We want to go into our scriptable objects, because all the skills are scriptable objects. And then we are going to go into core. Here we go. Core T0. And I am just going to change the name of this to be something else. I'm just going to call it like temp removed. There's core integral 1. And then core integral 2. Here we are. And now what we're going to do is I have a tool for this. So part of the Castaway Soul tool set, we have a skill creator. The skill manager currently does not work, but we have a skill creator. So we are going to name a skill. What the heck do we name this skill? I'm tempted to call it leavening, but no. Okay, we want... See, this is always one of those things because the name of the skills and how the player refers to them tells a story. And so it needs to tell kind of a story of what the skill is. So for now, we can just set it up to tier 0 undercore. Its integrity cost is going to be the same as integral 1, which is 50. There we go. Our activate events, we don't have those yet, so we're gonna leave those blank. And 1 second, I'm just gonna take a sec to think it through and try and figure out. This was not a thing I should have done on stream. At least not for these ones, for making new skills. But I did want to show how new skills are added. So for now, you know what? For now, we're just gonna call it like what, weightless or something. Then that's too much. Okay, 1 second. All right, let's get this going. And we're gonna look for something that, see, that's why I was thinking of that's what I was thinking of leavening, but leavening isn't. I was actually thinking of levity. I could definitely see there's buoyancy as well. Okay. We are going to leave. We're going to have it as levity for now. Because 1, it does sound like levitation. And also I do... Yeah, I think for the lore description, we can have something like... Sorry, that's my phone. Okay, for... Don't let... do... Let's do... Don't let... leave... I've also forgotten how I've made most of these and like the writing conventions that I came up when I was and it's always a question of how much do we write? Is this enough for the lore? Because I don't want to overfill the cards. I don't want to give away too much. This one is unfortunately gonna have to be like this. It's not gonna fit as well with all the other cards because I'm not quite in the same mind space as I was back when I was making all of these skills and all that kind of stuff. But you know, that's what it is. You put down a project for a while and then come back to it. You're not gonna know everything that's happening around it. And what are our effects going to be? Would it be How did I write these? Or do we, is it like, okay. Yeah, so let's say something like that. It's close enough. What about... Yeah, so it's between like 15 and 20%. So I think calling it core weight minus 20% will be perfectly fine. Right, and so what we're going to do is, I don't have something. Normally I would create something for this, but what ends up happening is I have this window. I've custom made it, and then every time we make this window, it creates a new object called temp. So see, temp skill, and it's a skill SO. So this is basically like a reference to the thing that we are currently writing all of this for. And let's see, so we have that, we have our integrity cost. So now we are able to create the skill and we can remove it. And so now, here we go, T0 core levity, and we have, see, it references itself because after we press create, it renames that object that it was pointing to, but it still stays pointing to it. And now we can put in whatever kind of option. Can I actually open the script? Skill SO. Come on. Okay. Yeah, I have a little bit of a roundabout way of working with skills and skill cards and all that kind of stuff, just because a lot of this game was made in like a month, and so a lot of it was built for speed while still being like extendable and stuff like that. So what we are going to do, as you can see, everything is very nicely organized. That's dash, that's jump ability. Here is our core. So under core, which is where we're doing mult movement speed, we are also going to do, yeah. How would we do that? Let's see. So if we were to, if we just multiply it by like 20%, that would reduce it. What if we have like 0.9 times 0.8? So there we go. Okay. All right, that works. So then what we can do is where we have this, we're just going to copy and paste that, and we're going to do mult. Let's call it mass. It's because physics stuff. Okay, and then we go to our player controller, go to our definition where we're doing movement speed. Technically, this is associated with movement speed, so I'm just gonna keep that here. Okay, mult. Also, for those of you wondering what this is to check that the player controller is not null or empty, because this is a static thing, so we can use it from anywhere. And the reason that it takes in this is just a string. That's the name of the method. So we know if it tries to activate this method and triggers into this, we know that it was happening in multiplayer mass. So we're going to do, okay, how do we do Static utility methods, player healing. We have to find like the proper place to do this. So to do that, we have our player movement speed. I'd really rather not do it directly if at all possible. So we need to find some place here where we can player interaction and collision, player death, player rise, end game. Adapt menu, zoom control, pause, run and zoom control, zoom interface. Where to? I think just like right here should be fine. Now the question is, there we go. I'm just gonna leave that there. Do we grab? No, at no point are we grabbing the player rigid body. No, there we go. Rigid body holder. Is that specifically for the player? Yes. Okay, so we do have a rigid body holder. Perfect. Which means that since we have a rigid body holder, we can do air mass, and then we can take in a, and what we're going to do is if rigid body holder equals null, then we're going to return. And yeah, as you might be able to tell, some of these are different than others. That is because in the year since I've last worked on this game, I have found some other ways to do all the same things. So kind of the point of this is to not have to nest. So what we're doing here is, normally the way that I would do this is I would say if rigid body holder is not equal to none, then right. And then the problem with this is if you have things like this, then you start nesting and nesting and nesting, and then it just gets to the point where you then have to keep in your head all of these like different possible conditions of what can happen. So the whole point of kind of unnesting everything is that we have the condition out here, and if the condition isn't met, or rather if the condition is met, we just kick him out of the method or the function, and then it doesn't matter. And then we're going to do here, can't find here. There we go. Okay. So now we know for certain that the rigid body holder exists. So what do we have as part of the rigid body holder? It's been so long since I've actually since I've actually like looked at what's part of rigid body. Set the mass based on attached colliders. Oh, that seems fun. What is sweep? Yeah, so see, I've been programming for like years and years, doing it in Unity stuff, and like even a lot of these, I just look at them when I need to, because a lot of these you don't need to know that, like, it's handy to know that they exist. You don't have to know that they exist. Ooh, closest point on them. Anyway, we're going to do mass, force, point velocity, point velocity. Anyway, right, so we're going to get our mass, and we are going to times equal to input mult. And then we want to add a check here for if it's less than like 0.1. Let's not allow for the player's mass to go lower than like 4. So this is one of those cases where we can just have our regular loop, because we don't need to be doing anything past this. There we go. So the nice thing about that is it will help us make sure that in case something goes wrong, like way down the line, that it's not going to be unplayable, right? If we mess up somewhere with the skills and they just go crazy, it's not going to be a case of everything just goes wild. And then at the same time, we can also do so if it's less than that, then reset it. And then if it's greater than, what's our limit on mass? This is mostly just error checking. So if it's greater than 1, we are going to set it to 1. Yeah. Yeah, for now, this will be fine. This is just a small amount, checking to make sure that stuff doesn't go wrong. So there we go. We have our player mass handling. Now we're going to go back to our player mass associated. We're going to do instance dot multiply player mass, and then we're going to just give it input. Here we are. Whoops. Right, yes. How did I name these normally? Don't they have one for movement speed? Okay. Yeah, a lot of these static ones just work directly on it, but I don't particularly want to do that. Again, I could. Yeah, what we're gonna do then is just all this. There we go. So that's the internal one, and then that's the one that most things are going to be using. So now we go back to our skill as so, and then where it says multiplayer mass, we're going to do, there we go, float amount. Now, we go back into our editor. Go back to our skill cards. So we have our levity. We can now take it from skill SO and say we are looking for player mass, and from our calculations, we want to do 0.8. And so what that's going to do is it's going to take the current player mass and it's going to multiply it by 80%, which means it'll reduce it by about 20%, which is what the card says it's supposed to do. God, I need to go back and like reread through all of these descriptions so I can get back. But for now, when it comes to like the stream and stuff like that, I am just going to put in something that's good enough and change them up later on. So we have our integral. We want to add now T2 core. There we go. T2 core integral. So we want to go tools, Castaway Soul, skill creator. We are going to name it levity 2. Its tier is 2. Category core. Again, this is just, probably going to be placeholder. Like, I will be fine with this because it seems like a lot of players don't read the descriptions that much, but I still put care and effort into them for those that do. But this is, I would say, good enough to get the job done. If I come up with something better, I will change it. If not, this is what it's going to stay. So core weight minus, do we want to reduce it by an additional 20% or an additional? So this is one thing you have to keep in mind. So we can do times 0.8 again. And so see 576. So that's perfectly fine. What we can do is we can keep hang on, 0.72, which is what was our previous one, times 0.75. 54. Okay, that's also fine. What about 0.72 times 0.70? Okay, so we can then say core weight minus 30%. Integrity cost is going to be 100, same as the previous one, and same thing. We're just going to find our temp skill, and we are going to give it, now that we actually have it added in here, we can mult player mass by 0.7, which will give us that 30% weight reduction. I think that's everything for now. We are going to create that skill. There we are. Okay, now we have those two skills going. So for the most part, it should about reduce the player's weight by 50%. It won't be quite 50% because of you're doing a you're not adding 20 and 30%, you're removing 20%, and then from that you're removing a further 30% as opposed to removing 50% from, because yeah, we can do 0.9 times 0.5, that'll give us 0.45, but if we're doing 0.9 times 0.8 times 0.7, 504. So that's around where we want the player to be. You saw during when I was testing that whole weight, getting them to a weight of 0.5 is a relatively good place for the player to be, where they have more control over themselves, they can jump around, but they can also get knocked around a lot easier. So I think that'll be fine for now. Now it's the second part of this. So the second part of this, oh yes, one nice thing about how all of this works, in the back end, all of these skills, it takes basically this is there's a skill ID that is automatically created and updated, and I don't generally tend to touch that number, But what that does is there's a framework in the back that I've made myself that just says, hey, is this skill active or not, and then tells the player to apply it. And then, okay, so we go to our skill menu. So we are looking for T0 caster core. So this is it. So instead of having our integral here, we are going to take, here we go, levity. So now in that left slot, it's levity. And then for tier 2, for U2, we are going to take T2 core, levity 2. There we are. And now what all that should mean. See, this is the nice thing about setting up modular systems. That's how easy it is to add a skill that changes something on the player. See, there it is. I'll need to change. Okay, so because of how the wrapping works, yeah, I definitely need to change the description a little bit. I'm going to work on that afterwards. Also, this place is not capitalized. Okay, that's good to know. But yeah, because of how the wrapping works, it's not doing the thing as it should be. However, we can manifest this. And, oh, did I not? Oh, hang on. Why is that not? Just when I was saying all that stuff just works. I swear, it's not a Bethesda just works. What the heck are you talking about? Why isn't it that? That's so weird. Okay. Hang on. I shouldn't have to do anything here. Array. Yeah. E0 core U. Levity. It's been, see, one of the issues with figuring out this kind of stuff is I haven't worked on it in so long, and so I'm probably gonna have some issues figuring out what's what. See, it should be that skill menu, so the question becomes, why is it not? Where's our come on. Give me date modified. Should be, there we go. Okay, it's unable to find a player skill error. Okay, so it's having a trouble because it cannot find player skill. And I'm 705. Okay, all right. Time for some debugging. Yay! This is what y'all came here for. If I can figure out where all that stuff goes. Okay, so player skills overseer. Oh, there we go. Figured it out. Do I have... Yes, okay, I figured out what I did wrong. So I just need to set that to 0. And then we are going to fill list from assets. There we go. So that was the issue, is that I just did not add those skills to the player skills overseer. And what we can do is, hang on, so this player skill overseer, it has a prefab. I think we can probably just apply prefab.
And so there we go. We have our new skill list. There's probably a better way to where I can just have it so whenever a new skill gets added, it also finds this and then adds it to it. But then the more you kind of connect these and automate these systems, the more of an issue it becomes to change them. But there we go. We have this now, and I just need to go in and fix. So we've added, oh, okay, it didn't actually save the player health reserve. What we do want to do though is give ourselves some more health so that we can actually test these new things. So now hopefully it should work. And unfortunately, when it comes to coding, coding is basically magic, so you do just gotta hope. Okay. We have manifested it. We're going to go over here as well. There we go, levity 2. Alright, we're at 157 integrity. Oh, that's... Nope, hang on. It'll be fine, don't worry about it. I forgot something. And that something is that in the game scene... Save changes. So there you go. Seems to be working now, but we will find out once we actually get here. We want to put the mass at 0.9. There we go. So that is now our mass. The movement speed, I think we can move that to 350. I might move it back up to 400. We shall see. But yes, we have now both of our skills. They should be active if they're in there. We have the proper amount of int. And then if we pause, we can take a look at our player. Yep, there we go. Our mass is about where we expected it to be. And now it is much easier to move the player around. Huzzah! There we go. 2 new skills added. I'm probably going to have to make these a little bit lighter as well, just because it's kind of hard to see where the things are, but for now, I think it works out fine. Yeah. Oh my goodness, the dash is so powerful now. Yo, you almost like teleport with it. That's wild. Okay, yeah, I do like that. I do like that. That makes for some interesting gameplay. I forgot to change the thing again. There we go. Here. There we go. Where do we want to expand? Oh, we have a chonker over here. Okay, good. I can still go over that. That is something I wanted to test. Okay. We're fine. We're fine. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Yeah. Hello, sir. Where the... Oh my god. Okay. Okay, I 100% need to add something about that, because I had no idea where I was going there. Oh my goodness. That was wild. Because yeah, you see you just jump and it's like, I'm somewhere. Definitely gonna have to fix that. Now the question is, how do we want to fix that? Because one easy fix for that, and it's probably like I could definitely just raycast down and then draw some sort of like shadow or something like that. But kind of doing that for all the enemies is a little bit impractical. It's part of the reason why all the enemies have those shadows that you can see, so you can kind of tell when they are or aren't off the ground and stuff like that. So what I'd want to do for the player, yeah, I have like no idea where I'm going. Okay, I know that's not what we were talking about, but I kind of want to fix that right now. And we're gonna figure out how to fix that. So y'all get to witness the full game dev thing happening all at the... Sorry, I'm just enjoying myself now, so... Like, again, this isn't a bit. I was actually, like, getting kind of bored with the game, right? Because, again, I know everything about it, and just adding all the obstacles and everything, and especially kind of getting this change in where I can control everything better is quite nice. So... now with all those obstacles, okay, this is probably gonna kick my ass, but we'll see. Whoa. Yeah, see, like, bosses definitely need to have some sort of indication of where they are, where they're going. It might honestly be something we add to all the enemies, but I can't be sure. Oh no, okay, we have enough health and damage to take care of this guy. Come on. Come on, you bugger. Come at me. I don't know where me is, but come at me. Yeah. Come on. Got it. We're all good. Nothing to worry about. Okay, alright. I'm just gonna cut it there. So, first thing, before I forget again, to the canvas work in progress text, I am just going to... whoops. I'm just going to move that to the other side of the screen. For those of you wondering what this is, that is in preparation for both... for the mobile version. I found like a nice fixed joystick asset that can kind of replicate having a joystick on screen. And on the bright side, it'll mean that the game will be even more playable on touch screens and the like. Now let's just put this to like 38. There we go. So that's there. What do we want to do? We wanted to figure out how to add to the player. So this is what the player is. Player controller is at the top level. We have a rigid body here, and this is our health component. And then everything else kind of goes inside the player and rotates with them. Now, unfortunately, I don't believe you can have a rigid body within a rigid body. So I can't just like put in another rigid body that's not rotating. So that's part of the reason why you have stuff like this, like the pointing harness and stuff like, and things like it, where they, let's see, core, here we go. So this is the cascade holder, and that's designed to always be kind of above this area. And I believe that there is something in player controller, or at least there should be. The heck? How is this in? ish. Okay. Weird. Anyway, let's see. So we have our corpus object, core object. We are looking for casting. Here we go. Cascade variable. So we have our cascade holder. Let's see. Find all the references. Okay, so that's what sets the cascade holder to be exactly above. And yes, okay, so see, in late update, we make it so that the cascade holder is always pointing up. We could add another object here called like shadow holder or something like it. Or at least like line holder. Yeah, so what we want to do then is here where it says player holder, we're just going to... How do we want to do this? Because it somewhat needs to adapt to the player's height. Let's do... let's just, for now, we're going to call it... there we go. So that's our shadow holder, and it's Y instead of being up there. We're going to set its Y to like -4. That's inside. That's too little. -11. That might be a little bit too far. Let's put it to like -8. I think -8 should be fine for now. And we can see about changing that up. So then for the player, cascade holder. So we want to make a new shadow variable. So sting cascade. Let's do... There we go. And now what we want to do is see how all these places we have things for, hey, does this thing exist? Does this thing exist? We want to do similar things for our shadow. Basically duplicate everywhere where cascade holder is. And just change it to shadow. Don't need that for now, that for now. Could not find. We're going to do there. I'm not actually sure if there is quite any better way to do this, but this is the way that I'm currently using to do all this, to make it so that they always keep up with the player and pointed where they need to be pointed. For now, we're not going to do anything. So what we have just added is something to the player that is not going to rotate with the rest of the player. When you add something like this, when you add like the rigid body, the whole of the game is based on the player actually being able to rotate. It makes it like more engaging to, you know, see the insides and all the stuff that you add to the player rotate with you. And it also adds challenges. I really like the challenge that's added when you have the trade-off between like adding armor and then making it more difficult to move. I really like that the armor is an actual physical thing on the player that makes it harder to move around, because the player is a ball and the armor literally just gets in your way. I do quite like that. However, it means that there's like a whole bunch of little things that you then lose out on that you can't optimize. Like, I would love to just have a whole bunch, have something to where, you know, to have like maybe a second rigid body that is just constrained so it doesn't rotate. It doesn't like move relative to its parent. I don't know, maybe that's something that is possible, but that is outside the scope of this stream. So what we're now going to do is we're going to add a component called, I think it's like a line. Yes. There we go. Positions 1 and 2. Color, yep, we can keep that. Align with, let's transform Z. Where did that go? I do not know. That's a little bit of a problem. View. Texture mode. That stretch is fine. Material. We can just give it like a default. Well, I certainly have a lot of materials to use. There is something like this should be fine. It's been so long since I've actually worked with there we go. It's been so long since I've actually like worked with lines. So why is the why do yeah, even though I'm setting the okay. All right. I think that should be fine. Our color perfectly fine. Our texture scale in the no, right, that's not going to okay. Ah, there we go. Okay, now that it's not aligned to the view, now it's actually more what I would expect it to be. Okay. That's a little bit better. So this does not cast shadows because that would look freaking weird. What was... I think camera motion is fine. It's fine for... Don't worry about dynamic occlusion. All right. Here we go. Now width. Let's reduce the width along it to like 0.2. And this is real long now. So now theoretically, this is the very quick and dirty way of doing it. But it gets the job across and we don't have to use a... Uh-oh. Right. So, about that. I may have forgotten to add the shadow holder. Do this. Now it should work. So a thing we also want to do is probably do like, yeah, do like the -8y. Oh, come on. Why is it not doing the thing? Hello? It's changing the did I mess something up here? Yes. Thanks for perspective. It should be changing it, but I guess so. One thing, let's I'm gonna do a little bit of experimenting here because it's not quite working out how I would expect it to work out. And yeah, down the line we can add some more polish, make it so this line isn't visible until the first pedestal hits. Why isn't it following with the player? What am I must be forgetting something and I don't know what. Is the line renderer performing differently to what I would expect it to? Like if I put it there, did that? Oh, why? The heck? No, see, it's not moving from the center. Why? Why is the... I've been able to have these line renderers work before and not have this sort of issue. What if we only draw it in local space? Okay. That is highly, highly wrong. 0. It might be because we have it in world space that it's causing some issues. That's still like not aligned with the player though. Why? Why? Okay. Okay, at least now. Yeah, there we go. Look at that. The line, yeah, this... Aha, get stabbed! Stab the ground! Stab it! Stab! Okay. Back to the drawing board. We are going to use local space. There we go. Gonna make the Y be like -100 so we can jump up pretty high and not have it be a problem. And then we should be able to activate this. And now it should attach to the player while also being able to move around and being down below them. Hey, look at that. Huzzah. And now when we jump, you can actually tell kind of where you are as a player. So it might be better to, like I said, it might be better, see how we have a, like this little circle, that's kind of easier to see for where we are, but what we've done here is like a relatively inexpensive way to get this stuff drawn. We are, it's one of those things where we are updating it every frame, like every update, which is unfortunate, but it just kind of what you have to do to keep up with the player. Something like this we'd also want to do for a bunch of the enemies, just so that people know where they are. And then if I wanted to do the whole circle thing to kind of be able to see, I don't think it's necessary. I'm not sure that the circle thing would add too much to enemies. This way you know, oh, enemies in the air, and then when they land, they have that little thing at the bottom. So what we want to do now is finish tweaking it. So we do a Y of minus, let's say like -2. We now need to figure out where we want all these limits to go. Like, see, that's not... I don't know why the Y is at 12.5. That's strange. Why is the Y at 12.5? Plus vector 3. Yeah, let's do down. And the reason I'm using those simple vectors is just to reduce the amount of processing that has to be done. There we go. Hey, look at that. So see, now we have our thingy, and then if we jump, we can see where we are. Oh my god, we can see where we are. Oh, that's so nice. Yeah. Okay, actually, yeah, there we go. That works out. So see, we are attached to the ground, and now if we jump, we can kind of see where we are. And then if we use our far sight, we can definitely see where we are. Ooh, okay. I might need to make it a little bit thicker because it's kind of shimmery on the far sight, because it's so thin, it's not always being drawn. Okay, hang on. Here's our shadow holder. So can we can also align it with the view and then reduce the width some more to point. Come on. Yeah, that's fine. That should hopefully mean that now, because it's facing the camera always. Ooh, yeah, it's a little bit too thick. Yeah, it's a little bit too much. Okay, we're gonna have to pull that down a little bit more. Can I? Here we go. That's what I was looking for. Value 0.1. That's too much, isn't it? Yes. What we want is edit key to 0.05. That might still be too much. Yeah, I think that's a little bit too much still. Like, it's very visible from far away. I will say I do actually quite like how that turned out. And now you can 100% tell, like, where you are and where you're gonna land. Okay, yeah, that very much works out. But I think I can reduce the width by, like, even more. And see, one of the nice things is now that it's always facing the camera, when it comes to like anti-aliasing and stuff like that, you won't have as many issues, because when it was facing its Z, what was happening is you basically like, you either have it facing you or having it like that. And so depending on how like some of the angles work out, you can see by my hand with how this also my background remover tries to work out. It's like that, very easy to kind of keep. But then once you thin it out, and start like moving it around. It's not exactly the same, but you get the idea of what I'm trying to say, which is that the angle of the line, if it's not completely facing the camera, the anti-aliasing can just decide, oh, that line's not visible, it's fine. And there we go. See, this is now visible. I do, oh my god, I do love how the harness for that shows you where the open doors are works, though. Oh, I'm a big fan of that. Dude, I'm having fun with this game again. This is excellent. I am so glad I decided to come back in and work on this stuff. So there we go. We now have our demonstrator, and what we can do with it now. We're not going to use pedestal platform, but we're going to use, I think, it's not the player material. Player core, that's the player core death particle. We need to find, here we go, core highlight material. So we want to make sure that we're using the same as all the rest of these, right? I'm pretty sure that for this, it uses, yeah, the core highlight material. We want to make sure that they all use the same material, so if we decide to change them, switch them on later on, it'll all go with one another. So we have our shadow holder. I am actually probably just going to prefab this. No, don't replace, add a new one. Okay, what the heck? Add a new one. There we go. Sometimes Unity has a little bit of an issue when you don't have an empty area to add stuff to. There we go. So we now have our shadow holder, which should shadow holder player, and then we're just going to make another one for, oh, what? I think we accidentally may have, like, I'm glad that there's confirmations for all those things. It could have been real bad. Okay, and now instead of doing core highlight material, we have or here's the enemy. I think enemy core highlight material. There we go. Right, now we want to go to our enemies. Because we've made it so that our enemies can do a whole bunch of jumps and stuff like that. Our enemies are actually like fairly efficient. They only run their code about once a second, and then the physics engine takes care of everything. And the way that all the enemies work is about once a second, there's an enemy manager that runs through them all and tells them to execute their logic. So what we're going to want to do here, yeah, we can just add it to this. So we have our corpus, and then public transform. There we go. So we have our shadow holder. Just gonna take this. Okay, enemy controller cannot find. This is just for error catching for the enemies. And yeah, so all the enemies have a base controller that then gets inherited from as it kind of goes further down the line. So see, the way that, at least for myself, the way that I do the things is enemy controller underscore T1, so that one inherits from enemy controller. And we have our T2. So for all of these, we want to add, so to the core, we want to add our new prefab, which is shadow holder enemy. Good, nope. There we go. We have our shadow holder now. That's why is it all the way over there and size 10? What? Weird. I guess because we're adding it to the core and the core is behaving a little bit. Yeah. Hang on. How do we add this to the player? Listen, stuff like this is gonna happen, especially if you haven't like played in a long time. I mean, it's fine. It works. This is also attached to core, and core is also 0.8 here. So why is this giving me trouble? It's probably giving me trouble because of how it was saved. There we go. So that is unfortunately probably something we're going to have to do for all of them because of how Unity does certain things. Enemy T0, we are going to add there. So we need to do that for everything. And unfortunately, oh, okay. Oh, okay. What happened is because I moved it somewhere else first before putting it into the core. Okay, that was the issue. That was the issue. All right, where's our enemy T1? We are going to add the shadow holder. Enemy T2. Yeah. And then we are going to do the same thing for all the bosses. The bosses also all inherit from the same script. Oh. Wait, did I do a clever thing? No, never mind. Why was that weirdly? Okay. I think I may have just selected enemy T0 instead of boss T0. I thought I had made it so the bosses inherit from the enemies, but I could see that also causing all sorts of problems down the line. Okay, there we go. Wait. It's very important not to forget things like this. Don't forget the procedure. Especially can't forget the procedure if I'm in the middle of streaming, because that kind of distraction can lead to problems down the road. Now, like I said, is this the best solution? Probably not. You'd probably do something a little bit better. But does this solution work? Yes. Does it add a lot of overhead? Not particularly. Okay, so now that's been added to everything. What we need to do is something I really don't want to do for enemies, but I think we're probably just going to have to, and that is I think just void late update. Yeah. I was really hoping not to have to add this to any of the enemies, but we're probably going to have to. No other way to go about it right now, unless I can find, you know. There we go. Unless I can find some way so that that doesn't get affected by rotation and stuff like that. See, I kind of feel weird about showing that now, mainly because I don't know if that's what I'm going to keep, because I do not like the solution of having to do late update here. Basically, like every one of the enemies, every frame, having to update where that is and kind of keep it facing upwards, you know? I don't know that there is like a better way to do it though. Yeah, it's probably going to be a case where I'm going to be looking through forums and all that kind of stuff to try and figure out, is there some other way to get this done? But for now, this is here. It's working. It's good enough. And at the same time, that new enemy that we're going to add is kind of going to cut down on the numbers because, and we need to cut down on the numbers because of the stuff we have planned for New Game Plus. Yeah, when it comes to New Game Plus, enemies are kind of gonna get ramped a lot, like the enemy numbers. So we need to optimize our enemies to heck and back to make sure that everything's working. And yeah, if you're wondering why, oh, wait, okay, all right, so there you go, that's a problem. We don't actually want the core material there because we don't want that line to be always visible. Okay, good to know. So for the player shadow holder, we actually want to have a different material. The core highlight material is made to be seen through everything. I guess, nope. There we go. It's made to be seen through everything so that even if a player is behind an obstacle, they can still be seen. The enemy is just, I mean, it's actually kind of nice to have that work with the enemy because then you can see it's like, oh, there's an enemy falling here. I'll just need to make them be longer. And making them like longer or shorter doesn't really add much overhead. It's still like, it's just doing a math of drawing a line from one point to another. I will say I do like that they glow. Now the question is, can we get any of these guys? Come on. Okay, see, this is quite nice. It won't exactly always indicate, right? Because like we're hitting the sides of this. So it won't always exactly indicate where you're going to hit, but it's a very like, it's a very good approximation of, hey, you're gonna land about here. Oh, hey. Ah, okay. All right, we can just relax now and not worry about it. Just listen to the calm meditative music. Anyway. God, them just stabbing away at the ground is hilarious. Well, I mean, like I said, at least you know exactly where they are and where they're going, and I'm not seeing too much of a difference gameplay wise. At the end of the day, yes, it's that stuff is being done every frame. However, all it's doing is it's moving something that's attached to itself around. The operation that it's doing is fairly inexpensive, so it shouldn't be a problem. But it's one of those things where it feels very inefficient to be running anything in late update when you want to have tons and tons of enemies. Yeah, that works out. I think what I'm going to do, so one of the reasons that I prefabbed all of those things, right, is that all those enemies now have this prefab, which means if I want to change something on all the enemies, like let's say I want to extend that tail to, instead of being -100 to being like -400, there we go. I've extended the tail on all the enemies now. See? Oh, okay, I did not mean to open that up, but it's fine. Come on. I do kind of like the fact that the enemy shadows are now showing like orbital strike beacons. They now feel like orbital strike beacons. Like, wah. I really need to get back into like making more sci-fi games and stuff, man. Yep, look at that. Orbital strike beacons. One thing that I definitely need to do is I need to make it so the enemies aren't immediately active. Because I have seen players have issues sometimes where the moment they... like, enemies will spawn in that are like the ranged enemies and shoot them before the player has any chance to do anything. So probably what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it so... okay, so every pedestal has 4 spawn points. There, 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 and there. And all of those spawn points just get added to a pool, and then enemies just get spawned in them. What I'm probably going to do is I'm going to make it so the last pedestal, it will be impossible to spawn enemies on. And that might be something that I should just be able to do on stream. Oh, there we go. We know that those guys are coming in. And like, maybe not, because I do kind of like the player basically getting a warning of, hey, enemies are coming, to deal with it. It's one of those things of how far do you change the difficulty? Like, how not the difficulty, but like how accessible do you make your game, right? Because like, I can 100% make it so enemies don't spawn. I can make it so that, you know, enemies have like take forever to spawn, or enemies don't move, and it's like, oh well, that makes the game much more accessible. However, you've now like taken out a whole bunch of the challenge and changed around the challenge. So I think just having the enemies be in the air and taking a while to fall is not a bad change when it comes down to how enemies spawn. It gives the player some time to react, and you know what? It's at the same time, that's just like, it's part of the randomness. Does it suck that, you know, sometimes the randomness works out in such a way to where the player gets screwed over? Yes. It's not going to happen every time, though. If it happens every time, then the randomness needs to be changed. But if it's a case of like, oh, well, there's like a 1 in 100 chance that when... see, this is so much easier to jump now. But anyway, if there's like a 1 in 100 chance of the player getting some bad RNG, that's fine. If there's a 100% chance of the player getting bad RNG, that's less fine. Yeah, this makes it so much easier to move around now. Like, look, I know where I am and can stop myself. Huzzah! No, open. There we go. Whoa. I will say, that looks so much more intimidating now. Like, holy shit. I like it. I like it quite a bit. Yo, that enemy had enough speed to actually go up the ramp. That's wild. Yeah, the obstacles, they really add that little bit of je ne sais quoi. Oh yes, they add some of that je ne sais quoi. Yeah, I think that works out, where even if the player like jumps a little bit off the ground, the line is not immediately visible. So it's not like as necessary. Yeah. See, like, you don't always have to go for like the biggest, most top tier solutions. Like, I just drew a line and gave the player a reference to it, and I made sure that it always pointed up and that it kept up with the player. And now, whenever the player jumps, like, that wasn't a complicated solution, right? It might not be, is it like the most efficient solution in the world? Probably not. Does it like, is it good enough? Absolutely. Oh god. Yeah, okay, that works out a lot better, because now the player knows, hey, enemies are inbound. The one thing that I might change, though, is make it so when the enemies spawn, they don't drop until the player gets their movement unlocked. So the player gets like a little bit of warning time of where the enemies are going to drop. That might be something I do. Alright, let's go into the boss. I'm gonna get this. There he is! Aha! Oh my god, this boss is so much easier now that I know where he is. Alright, we're gonna fight this at a distance. This boss is made so much harder by the obstacles, though. You can't just get him into like a nice rotation loop. You actually have to like be careful and fight him. Oh, okay. And see, now that we have that exploration stuff, come on. Now that we get ourselves some extra bit of exploration time, we can actually collect our... and get ourselves healed up. And the boss doesn't matter. Doesn't matter for... oh my god. Oh, he just chased me down in the air. No, that's rude. That's so rude. No. Okay. We're fine. There's nothing to worry about, chat. I can't believe it's been like almost 2 hours. I really just kind of got into this and got into like, you know what? This has been way more enjoyable. Like the second time around, much better. I am enjoying this a lot better. We get to see how our new enemies behave. And see, now you get to see like where they are and approximately how far away from the ground they are. Oh, that's so much easier to figure out kind of where they're going and when you can attack them. Yaha! Hey. Yaha! Hoya! Hey. Ow, ow. Give me the healing. Thank you. Hoya! Hoya! Yaha! Ya missed! Now you gotta ask yourself, punk. Did I fire 5 shots? Did I fire 6? Trick question! I have infinite ammo. Trick question! I have a baseball bat. Yo, I'm enjoying myself. Oh my god, this is fun. I think it helps that I'm not at all thinking really about this. Like, I am thinking about someone eventually watching this and, you know, explaining what's going on, and if someone is also deciding to do game development, which you should. Game development, like, honestly, it's fun. It's a fun way to learn coding. It's just like a... I would not recommend it as a career. because in the game dev is fucking difficult. But as like a way to learn coding and just, you know, just putz around and like try new things, it's a fun hobby. Get there we go. Yeah. It's a fun hobby. It's a fun way to learn like a whole bunch of things, right? Because so many things go into video games. You can learn so many different skills. If you do want to be an indie game dev, that does mean that you will have to wear all the hats unless you have the money to hire someone else to wear, you know, the artist hat and the sound producer hat. This one, for this game, I actually got lucky in that I have a whole bunch of friends who also do game dev. And what we did was time trading, which is they do work for a certain amount of hours for me, and then I owe them that amount of hours. So instead of like having to have the money on hand, it's like, hey, if they need help with the project, I now owe them that many hours of work. And that's how I got like all the music and all the sound effects and everything set up in this game. Like, I can't really do music. I can't do all these sound effects. I just had a friend help me with them, and now at some point I just need to do some coding work for them, and that's great. It's also one of those things where I will say, like, it feels nicer because then you're not involving, like, you're not mixing money and friends. I know for some people it can just be easier to like, here, agreed upon money, this is done, because like, oh well, how many hours does this take, how much work do you do? And at that point, like, you just have to decide. It's like, hey, this is a friend that I trust will like do the work, right? That I trust to be able to hold up their end of the bargain. And if they're not, well, that's a learning experience. Yeah. Yeah. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here, you. Yes. Okay. What you got, huh? Come on, what you got? What you got? Oh my god, this is, yeah, the game has been made quite a bit easier now with being able to maneuver around this way, I will say. And it's one of those things where that I'm perfectly okay with. I am happy with that, because it being difficult to move your character around is not a fun way to add difficulty and add challenge. So I am perfectly fine removing that as one of the challenging ways, and also removing that in a way that people can decide for themselves. It's like, hey, do you want to spend the points and make your character lighter? Do you not? Up to them. And then yeah, at the same time, I've made like baseline the player easier to move around. But yeah, this is one of those things where like I love that, right? Like I love the rotation there. It just, to me, that just looks so good and so fun. And that's just like a function of the player is a rotating physics ball. And so that happens. And that's also the reason that happens, is also the reason why all the enemies have to have a thing to make their shadows point downwards, same as the player. Because it's like, all of them are kind of like one of those fushigi balls, right? Where it's just like a glass sphere, and because it's a glass sphere, it looks magical when you're rolling it around, because you have not, your eyes don't have anything to lock onto to realize motion. But no, all of these are always spinning all the time. My god. Shit. think I missed all of the ones on that jump. That's even more damage. Oh, that's not good. Oh. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, I hate it when they cluster up like that. That's what I intended them to do. That doesn't mean that I like it. That is one of the challenges with those enemies, in that they tend to cluster together and fire away at you. But if you have jumps and dashes, they're relatively easy to take care of. You just gotta jump or dash at them, and for the most part, they don't have predictive aiming, and you can take care of them. Okay. We're on number 6 now. Yeah, nope, okay. Ow, 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 oh my god, oh my god. I am really glad I got that, expiry thing, because that means I can then pick these up. Get myself some health recovered. Ah, dang it. There was also a version of this game where the caster shots, they like, you had to like pick them back up. So it would be like one of those games where, you know, like you have 6 shots. I think it was like, I think the game was called like Big Bullet or something, but it's games like that where you have like an amount of shots, and then every time you fire, you have to like then go pick up the bullet. Ow. But yeah, you have to then go pick up the bullet in order to be able to fire again, which would have been interesting, but I decided to go for this just for just because that wasn't what I wanted to do with this game. Wait. Yeah. Ow. God, they got me on the rebound. I can't believe that. Okay. Literally the only reason we're alive is that extended expiration time and me being able to pick up my shots. Where did those go? Oh no. Okay, that's another enemy down. Okay, that's more health. Missed me? Gotcha. Okay, alright. We are just barely surviving here, chat. We still have like 4 more surges to go. Sure, let's get some healing going. I didn't build my adaptations properly because I did not think I'd be going anywhere with this run, but oh well. Ow, 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 ow. Come on. What? Nyaha! You must pick off the weak. Those that separate from the herd. The only way to do it, chat, you gotta divide and conquer. Find the ones that are on their own. Yo, okay, yeah, the new obstacles are definitely allowing... You could not, like, split them up like that before. The new obstacles are definitely allowing for a lot more interesting strategies. And I'm loving it. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. It's like, feels weird to say those words and not then follow it up or prefix it with that sound. God damn you, that company. You know which one it is, unfortunately. God, jingles just get stuck in your head. Yo, that was just such a joust. No, 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 you don't. All right, towards me. Come on. Hello. Oh, I love that I can do that now. Now that I can see where the enemies are in the air, I can actually intercept them in the air. And they don't do so well firing in the air, just because everything's in motion, and so they're more likely to miss. We're slowly regenerating our health. Hello. How are ya? That's not the ones I should be. Okay, okay, we're fine, nothing to worry about. We're just gonna get out of here. Nope. Leave me alone. How did that miss? There we go. No, Gib heals, please. Whoa, okay, alright. We're fine. Ow. Less fine. Okay, that's also one thing that I need to do as part of the death procedures. I need to make it so the enemy core don't have their lines anymore. Same for the player. Because at the moment, if the player dies, they're still going to have their line below them. Hello. How did that miss? Oh my god. Hello. Could I please ask you to split into several groups in an orderly fashion? Oh, I thank you. Ow. Get him. There's one of my shots. That's more healing for me. Okay, alright. We're still surviving. There's still a bunch of enemies to take out, but we're surviving. Okay, we're gonna use this to split them up now. No, no, they can't jump it from that side. It's too tall for them to jump it. There we go. Oh god, I got stuck. No, we're fine, we're perfectly fine. Where did my other shots go? I don't know. Got him. Got that. Alright. Yes! We're actually gaining health by being careful here. Got him. Alright, we got ourselves even more health. Where did that... I don't know where that other shot went. Oh well. Come on. Come on. Got him. Okay, where'd my shots go? There's one. We actually, like, we went from 14 back up to 30 health just by being careful with our shots. Not taking any damage. Nice! Okay, alright. Stuff and things are happening. Let's get some more projectile damage. I do need to be careful here. Pick that up. Yes. Alright, come at me, come at me. Show me what you got. Apparently not much. Latest. Oh my god, yeah. Okay, I will say I'm absolutely loving the new speed mode. That's freaking great. Ow. Less great is being hit by one of those buggers. No, 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 no. Keep. God. It has been given. Where did it go? Where did it go? There it is. Yeah, keep. Quick! Quick! That. I will say I built this for keyboard, but I can definitely see it being way easier to control with a joystick, where you can actually have like a diagonal movement angle. Did that may have, I think that was one of the sounds for you've been hit. Yeah, one of the things I've been thinking about adding is also a like damage numbers that'll pop out of both yourself and enemies. I've been trying to make this game as much as possible to be like all of the UI to be like diegetic and stuff like that, but some things it's just incredibly difficult to make diegetic and not just put into UI. What the? What was? Okay, I don't know what happened there, but it was a bunch of lag that happened, and then I didn't fire. Yeah, missed. Okay, here comes the next boss. What was it? Aggression? No, boundless anger. That was it. Oh yeah, right. Ignore the thing in the bottom right. I haven't actually finished this game on Steam. Yeah, I do really like the feeling that this music gives. Also, I do love that that like shimmers. Not a lot, but it's there. Okay, where's the big boss? There he is. God, those are... I've forgotten how large those are. I've forgotten he has the big balls. You seem to be missing, sir. Is that a problem? Ow! Okay. God, do I need to retune this guy? Is he? No way. Wait. He should not be doing the same amount of damage as the other things, but I think he is. Yeah, I got hit twice there and only did 5 damage. That boss should be doing more damage than that. Maybe not, considering I am getting my ass kicked now. I don't know. That's one of those bosses that might have to be a little bit retuned. I might have to double his damage. so that he's more like the others, and I might have to make it so he can only shoot 1 to 2 projectiles at a time as opposed to being able to shoot all 4. But the whole point with him being able to shoot all 4 is to give players an opening where they can attack him. That might not be one of the things that I can change. I'll have to figure it out. Okay. Now we get to see how the dashers be. Well, I think we saw how the dashers behave.
Oh, it's just like we've had enough. Okay, all right, that was fun. I'm probably going to start calling it there. There's one last thing that I would want to do while I'm still here. What did we get done this time around? Let's pop it open. Where's my remarkable? Okay, so what did we get done today? Connect to app, please. Hello? Hello? 1 second. Can I stop sharing your screen? And present with screen share. Connect to app. There we go. I think it's because it was on that. Yeah, it looks like because it was on that menu, it was like, no, can't do this. Anyway, right. So we reduce the player weight, we up the player's base speed, and then we also yes, new spills. Okay, so we have added new skills. So all those things got done. The dark mode and the gray mode, that stuff, and the new enemy variant, that's probably something I'm going to be working on off stream. We'll have to see. What else did we add? Right, we added I guess we'll call, I don't know that we want to, they're light. I don't know that we want to call them shadow lines, considering they're bright and glowing, but they're shadow lines and they're intended to show, yeah, added, like, you'll have to excuse my handwriting. But yeah, there we go. We added a ground intersect line to player and all the enemies. Overall, you know, relatively productive stream. One last thing that I wanted to add. So what we have at the moment, if we go back to our inner scene, so here is where all of our skills are. They're all on these rings, and what happens is, depending on the highest level reached by the player, these rings move down. So one thing that I think I probably want to do is for each of these rings, and you'll see them here, inner world controller. Oh, I am getting like hydrated, so I should definitely, yeah, this is the last thing we're gonna do, and then I'm gonna call the stream just because I'm in it. I'm in this now. Like, I'm probably gonna end the stream and then just keep working. Like, I'm gonna grab some food and then just keep on working. So in our prefabs, we have our 3 graphical numbers. We want, what the heck are these? Right, those are the ones. So what we want is the graphical number 10, which is this, right? And then we want to rotate it by minus 40. No, not that way. Minus 90. So in the Y, we want to do like a minus 45-degree rotation. There we go. And then we want to lift this up a bit and make the pivot local so we can move it around easier. There we go. And so what we're probably going to do with these, I don't know that there's too much of a point putting them everywhere. And by everywhere, I mean on all four sides. But the idea would be to have these graphical numbers here. Yeah, what we're going to do is, hang on. So this is step 0. We are going to create empty, and we're going to call this... there we go. We're going to put our graphical numbers in there, and then we are going to just duplicate that. Move that over there. Is that actually like, not centered, is it? Whoops. Oh, that's frustrating. But there we go. At least now we know it's centered. Which means we can like delete this one. Graphical number 10. Yeah, so at least now that we know it is for the most part centered. Yeah, one of the slight issues with how I've designed this is that I could have, and I should have, rotated the camera slightly. What it did, unfortunately, was I rotated the entire world slightly. So everything is on like this kind of slightly weird like 45-degree angle. If I was to make this again, I would definitely just rotate the camera and not worry about it. But yeah, what can you do? Some stuff you make and you just got to live with it. So we're going to call this, so we're going to do graphical number 0. And the reason we're adding a 0 to the end of that is Unity automatically adds in the brackets. And so if we add something beyond it, Unity will automatically add that for us. So we can differentiate which ones they are. So number 1, we're going to hold control and we're going to snap it over here. I'm just going to want to look to where it's almost at the edge. There we go. And what we can do now actually is if we actually just duplicate this and then take the whole thing and rotate it by 45 degrees, we can then take the graphical numbers from here and add them to there, and there we go. We have the whole thing added. Theoretically, you could do that for just all the numbers and then not have to worry about it, but this is how we did it. So the idea is if the player hasn't reached, oh, whoops, hang on. There we go. That does not look the best. Okay, hang on. Okay, I'm gonna do this in a slightly different way. So we have our graphical number holder. Let's pull it out to there. There we are, and then we can put it like that. And specifically for this graphical number, I don't know that it needs to cast a shadow. So we can definitely turn that off to make it like a little bit on the weirder side. Anyway, this is all in the center, so we can just like duplicate, rotate 45, duplicate, rotate 45, duplicate, rotate 45. Now we can just take all those graphical numbers, put them in here, and there we go. Okay, so that's our first level, and we're gonna want to do the same for the rest. Where we just want, okay, step 0, that's step 1. Child, there we go. We can just take out these. Take our graphical number holder. Oh god, why is that all of a sudden different? That should not be like that. What? Oh wait, the scale is the same. Why is that one so much bigger? What? Okay. Well, that's a problem. I guess the scales of all these things are different. Yeah, we're gonna have to do this slightly differently. See, this is one of those things that's just kind of like tech debt. It just sort of happens. We can just put this into inner world controller and not have to worry about it. So we can call this like S0. And so then that's our graphical number holder for step 0. What we can do is just duplicate that. We can remove these for now. Take our 0, take our first one, move this out to where we want it to be. There should be fine. We want it to be just like a little bit outside so that it alludes to there being like a second ring. And then for this one, we want to show that it's actually, we want to show that this is actually at 2. So we are going to do that. And then we are going to create an empty, there we go. We're going to have a graphical number group. We are going to take this transform, copy component, and then paste component value. So that puts it directly on there. And then we can put this on here. All right. And now that we have that, what we can do is we can take our graphical number holder. We can copy it 3 times and rotate it. There we go. That one needs to rotate 180. And then I could also have just done it like I did it before, where we don't have to, you know, repeatedly rotate, but it's fine. Then there we go. Don't need those. And okay, so now we have the indicator of like, oh, hey, once you get to this being filled up, maybe something happens. And then it's like, oh, once you get to 2 of them being filled up, maybe something happens. We can have that sort of dealio going. And one thing that I would say is for the graphical number group, I am just going to increase their Y by like a little bit, just so that they're a little bit more different to these. And I'm probably going to do the same for the next group as well. So we want to duplicate the graphical number holder, delete the rest of these groups, take this one, and then push it farther out. So where did that go? That's there. I'm going to go back into this group, duplicate this, and then move it down so that it's in line. There we are. Perfect. Fit. Okay. And then duplicate, rotate 45, duplicate, rotate 45, duplicate, rotate 45. Hey, look at that. It is that easy, chat. And we don't need this.
So now we have, one second, I'm going to do a thingy here as well, where I'm going to take this and these ones, we are going to raise even more. So see, you get this sort of like ascending sort of feel to them. Yeah, that works. Okay, I like that. So now the question is, how does this look if we actually go into the thing? Now, bear in mind, I am going to add code later so that these will only show up if the player has not unlocked the next section, right? So that this right here will not be visible once the player has unlocked the next section. They might, honestly, they might be a little bit too big. Like if the player is locked down to this section, they kind of can't see that, you know? Like here, it's more fine. I might have to like lower them up. No. I might have to lower them all by a bunch. Well, there goes my nice idea about, you know, raising them up and whatnot. It's still a thing where the player needs to be able to see what's happening and be able to understand. Yeah, see, we haven't reached the last boss, so this is what it would look like, right? The player can't go through here, but they can definitely see that, hey, maybe once I fill up 3 of those squares, something unlocks here. What I can do is maybe have those be on the ground instead of floating. Okay, we're gonna try that actually. So, for one thing, definitely all of them need to go down, like every single one of them need to go down to there. I think that should be fine, because again, these will be fine if they're not touching anything, because there won't be anything below them. When you actually see them in game, there should not be anything below them. So there we go. Even though that kind of interfaces with the ground, it's not a problem because, hang on, we're just going to save. So we haven't reached the final stage there. These numbers should still be visible because the final ring will not show up. Okay, that's quite a bit more visible. Yeah, there we go. It gives it a little bit of a weird impression, but I think it should be fine. So yeah, that's one way to do it. There's so that's method 1. Let's try method 2. And what we're gonna do here is we're gonna duplicate it, and we're gonna call this graphical number holder like v2. Yeah, v2 is fine. v2 step 0. We are going to take out all of these numbers. Just keeping this one. And the other ones we can just hide. We don't need them to be visible. Right, what we're going to do is 0. There we go. Oh, that looks weird. Oh, because why is it stretched weird? Okay, that was strange. Anyway. So there we go. We can have something like that. I think I like that. Let's just quickly whip. I think it should be on the pedestal and it should be smaller. So this, I think, needs to be here. And then also its scale needs to be like 0.01.
Okay, that's a little bit too small. 0.05. Y is 0.05, and then that is 0.05. Okay, okay. That looks a little bit more like how I'd want it to look, while still... I think this needs to be even smaller, unfortunately. Because again, we're gonna have to fit like multiples on there, and I still want them to be on the platform. So we have that. We are going to now duplicate our stuff and get them all assigned. This honestly might be too much information to bombard the player with, but I also think that there needs to be some sort of indication to the player that that stuff there are things beyond what is here. There are in fact more levels and more things to strive for beyond this first one, and I think the players will understand that once they correlate. It's like, oh, now that I, like, you know, that's what this icon means, and so when the same icon happens on the surges, I unlocked the next level. Or at least that's the hope. Unfortunately, with players, you kind of never know. You're just a lot of the times with players, it can very much be you just take a shot in the dark and you hope good things happen. Okay, and same as previously, we just want to create a graphical number group. What? No. We are going to copy this component and paste its values. Then we can put that in here, duplicate it, and move this out by, yeah, there we go. Okay. Now we just got to rotate them. Okay. And last one. Did I? No, okay, that last one's at the proper position. I thought I may have overdone it. One of the nice things about these graphical numbers, they represent the same numbers regardless of their orientation. No idea if someone's used them before, but yeah, this is something that I made for a different game, and I like the concept and I stuck with it. You won't get any of the whole like, oh, is this a 6 or a 9? Is this a 1 or a 7? Because you have, like, you know, it's like, I've had in high school, I've had issues with that, because on my 7s, right, you do like the line and then down and then through. You always do the through, because I've had issues where I will do like my 1s to where like the first part of the 1 and then down is too long, and my teachers were like, oh, that's clearly a 7. It's like, no, look at all my 7s. All of the 7s have a dash through them for that specific reason. Okay, we are going to save, and now we're going to take a look-see at how this actually applies in game. Yeah, that looks fine. I like how that looks. I might have to make them a little bit thicker, but I do like that they're sort of like medallion, you know? Yeah, I do like that there's sort of like impressions in the... Yeah, I like those. One of the issues that I can see is players might think of like, oh, okay, so this is like the... This indicates that this current ring that we're on is like this enemy, but no, it actually... It's intended to indicate it's like, there's more stuff to unlock onwards. I think I can demonstrate that well by just taking this, pulling this downwards. Yeah. Okay, now see, that does look better. That to me more now indicates it's like, hey, there's something going on there. And then that's going to, right? There's no oh no. We're going infinite. We're going infinite, chat. Oh god. Yeah, since I did that, the normal safeguards are not in place, which is why I could fall off the map. Okay, yes, I will say that version of them I do prefer. I might make them a little bit thicker, but I also think it's actually fine by now. They look like little embossed pieces on this. What I need to... No, not that one. This one. I need to actually disable these. There we go. Those now won't be visible. And what I'm going to do probably afterwards, because each one of these also has a... don't they? No, they don't. I just have an inner world controller. Okay. Well, this inner world controller, I'm just going to have to make it so... I don't even know if I want to remove these, just because I kind of like how that looks, you know? It kind of shows you what's next to come. What I'm... See, it's these things that take like the longest time, because like I might want to do that, and then when that step is not visible, right, then that's just kind of floating in the air there, but that also just looks weird and I don't like it. I am probably just going to keep it as such and add these levels to the inner world controller. See how the inner world rings and the inner world ring colliders, they're all there. This is what's responsible for moving all this up and down. I will make it so those just get taken out. And before release, these ones will probably get erased, but for now, I'm not sure that I don't want to have them. I'm going to be keeping them. Okay, well, that's that. And on top of that, add ground intersect line, and then... Whoop, that's from the previous stream. Yeah, there we go. What did we add? We added what would you even call that, right? Like, would that be would that be like regression indicators? Added, yes. Okay, added. And then, ooh, okay. That might be fun. So what I can do, I think, is that we have our graphical number holders, and then I might just increase. No, but if I increase their scale, that'll increase the scale of everything. I was just thinking, it's like, oh man, it'd be nice if I could just like make it so when this comes out, this pops out, I can kind of, yeah. No, I'm overthinking it. Sometimes, okay. Sometimes you can 100% overthink things. This is done.
this looks good. It tells the player that some stuff is going to happen when the corresponding thing in the surges happens. That's good enough. Okay? It'll be good for here. We don't need too much more, because I could literally spend hours and hours and hours tweaking this one thing. None of the rest of the game will get done. This is good enough. This works. We should move on. Okay. And speaking of, that will be the end of the stream. Yeah, where's my... Just looking for my outro script. All right. Okay. Anyway, yes, that will be the end of the stream. Thank you, everyone, so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed yourselves. I've been D or FaZe. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, all that kind of good stuff. It all helps. You know, as an indie, the signal helps. Getting the signal out there and letting people know about our games is like getting reviews, getting likes, all that kind of stuff. Very helpful. Right. Yes. So if you enjoyed this, I now have a new thing. Yeah. Oh God, the camera flipped. But yes, if you enjoyed this, check it out on Steam. This update that I'm currently working on, believe it or not, is still a work in progress, as it says in the bottom, of the screen. But you can check out the game before this update, currently on Steam, and then this update will hopefully come out before the end of the month. That's what I'm hoping for. It's getting there. It's working. So that was Castaway Soul, one of our games. And then our other games is Eclectic Expansion Enterprise, which is more of a like tycoon incremental game with still that kind of abstract art style. And both of these have kind of abstract art styles because I'm just trying something new with them, and also trying to develop my own skills when it comes to working with like 3D stuff and shaders and all that kind of thing, and also when it comes to art, figuring out my own style. Because as you might be able to see, all of those icons on the right, all of the buildings and everything, it's based on like a 3x3 grid, and the only shapes I'm using for the most part are circles and lines. And having that limitation and still having to convey a significant amount of info has been a very, very interesting and fun challenge. But yeah, that updates for that are also coming at some point. It's just all over the place, right? It's one of those things where I have to prioritize on like making new games that I can then put out to hopefully make money, and then there's some games that I need to update and stuff like, and it's all over the place, man. I'm working on an update for that game that is coming. When? No idea, but it is being worked on, and I'm actually quite happy with how it's turning out. I don't know if everyone else will be happy, but I'm quite happy with it. And it just is what it is. There'll be more stuff, different stuff. I think the game is just going to be better overall. All right, other than that, right, stream schedule. I normally stream Monday and Wednesday. That's so far has been like Hardcore Tarkov with Hardcore Escape from Tarkov. And that one I stream from 5 to 8 p.m. EST or GMT -5. And then Fridays, it's like random games, co-op games with friends, or stuff like this. Like if I'm feeling up to it, which now that I've like done this again, and it's been like, I feel like I'm not putting as much pressure on myself, and I'm just doing the work and not caring. I think I was too much in my own head the first time I streamed this, of like, oh, people are gonna know, people are gonna see that I'm not like the world's best programmer, and then all the code. No code is ever perfect. Just put code down. Does it work? Do people enjoy it? Great. Excellent. Make stuff. Make things. You don't have to make it perfect. Just make it. Okay, and I think that's about it. Yeah. Right, yes. The Friday stream, all that kind of stuff. That one is from 2 to 5 p.m. EST or GMT -5. And yeah, that's been it. All right. See y'all next time.